Late at night in Paris, Driss is driving his boss Philippe through the city. Bored of sitting in traffic, Driss hits the gas and starts speeding past other cars without caring about the signs. Soon, the police come after him, and Driss bets Philippe 100 euros that he can shake them off. He ducks under a bridge, but the cops quickly trap them from both sides. Driss does not panic. Instead, he raises the bet to 200 euros, saying he can get them an escort. The police order him out of the car, and he starts acting upset. He explains that Philippe cannot move, and he was rushing him to the hospital. The officers check the vehicle and spot the wheelchair in the back. When they look closer, they see Philippe shaking as if he is in the middle of a seizure, which is also part of the act. Thinking it is an emergency, the cops let Driss go and even escort them toward the hospital. When they reach their stop, he shares his smoke with Philippe. Once the police drive away, Driss tells him he will handle things and quickly drives off before hospital staff can reach them. Their friendship actually started months earlier. Philippe and his assistant Magali were running interviews to hire a new caretaker. None of the applicants gave answers that impressed them. Then Driss walked in without waiting for his turn. He only wanted papers signed to confirm he was not hired so he could collect unemployment. He was blunt and even flirted with Magali, but Philippe found him funny and told him to return the next day for the papers. That night, Driss went back to his small apartment in a crowded neighborhood. He tried to take a bath, but his younger siblings kept bothering him until his older sister Mina stepped in to help. While waiting for their mother to come home, Driss looked out the window and saw his brother Adama getting out of a suspicious car. When Adama came inside, he claimed he was just at school and left right away with his bag, which made Driss even more certain the boy was hiding something. Later, their mother finally arrived. Driss gave her a Fabergé egg he had stolen and told her he had been on vacation. She was not happy to see him. He had disappeared for 6 months without a word and now came back like her home was a hotel. Tired of his lies and with other kids to care for, she kicked him out and told him not to return. That night, Driss hangs out with his neighborhood friends, sharing snacks and a smoke. The next morning, he returns to Philippe's house to pick up his papers. The housekeeper, Yvonne, greets him and shows him around. She explains Philippe's daily routine and even shows him the room he could have with his own private bathroom. Driss stares at the bathtub for a while before being taken to see Philippe. Philippe hands him the signed paper, but also offers him a job. Driss agrees to a 1-month trial, and Philippe bets he will not last more than 2 weeks. Driss brings his things to his room and begins training. He has to learn how to stimulate Philippe's legs, how to move him into the wheelchair, how to help him shower, and how to dress him. Things get uncomfortable when Driss finds out he has to put on compression stockings and even clean Philippe after the bathroom. He complains and says he will not do it, but in the end, he accepts that it is part of the work. That evening, Driss eats a snack on the roof but gets interrupted by Philippe's daughter Elisa and her boyfriend Bastien, who want a private spot to make out. Driss refuses to share his beer and kicks them out. Soon he adjusts to the routine with Philippe, even if he makes small mistakes at first. He hands him the phone instead of holding it to his ear and forgets the baby monitor while bathing, but he keeps learning. He also organizes Philippe's mail into folders. He opens most letters for him, but some private ones are off limits. When he finds a flyer for escorts, he makes a folder just for those instead of throwing them away like Philippe wants. Life is not only about work though. Driss keeps flirting with Magali without success, and sometimes calls escorts for himself. One morning, Yvonne scolds him for being late and notices weapons in his bag, but she says nothing. That day, Driss has to drive Philippe. He refuses to put him in the back of a van like cargo and instead chooses one of the luxury cars. At first, Philippe says they should be practical, but soon he enjoys the idea of a faster ride. Yvonne, however, does not approve. As they try to leave the building, they find a neighbor blocking the entrance despite the no parking sign. Driss grabs the man by the shirt and threatens him until he moves. Philippe is impressed, but Yvonne once again disapproves. Later, they visit a museum where Philippe wants to buy an abstract painting that Driss calls a red stain, not worth the price. After that, Philippe meets with a relative who warns him about Driss. He has a record and people worry about his violent side. Philippe does not care. He values Driss because he treats him without pity and can laugh with him. After another failed attempt to flirt with Magali, Driss eats dinner with Yvonne in the kitchen while Philippe dictates a letter to Magali. Yvonne switches off the baby monitor, saying it is private, and explains that Philippe is writing to a woman named Eleanor. Those are the private letters Driss was not allowed to open. Philippe has never met her. Their relationship exists only through letters. Later that night, he tries to sleep but hears strange noises from the monitor. Philippe is struggling to breathe. Even though he hesitates, Driss cannot ignore it. He goes to Philippe's room and calmly helps him through the attack, wiping his face with a wet cloth. Philippe eventually falls asleep, but soon wakes up again, saying he needs air. This time, Dries acts right away. He puts Philippe in the wheelchair, covers him with blankets, and takes him out for a walk by the river. It is the first time Philippe has seen Paris at night in a long while. Feeling more relaxed, he explains that the medicine only helps so much, and sometimes he feels phantom pain. When they spot some girls walking by, Philippe also admits he cannot please a woman because of his condition, but he can still feel some satisfaction when his ears are touched, since they are very sensitive. When the phantom pain starts again, Dries hands him a joint. Philippe doubts it at first, but soon enjoys it. Afterward, they go to a restaurant where they eat together and joke around. Philippe opens up about his past. He met his wife when they were both students. After marrying, she suffered 5 miscarriages and was later diagnosed with a terminal illness. That is when they adopted Elisa. Philippe always loved speed sports and competition, and paragliding gave him that thrill. During one flight, bad weather caused him to crash and break his vertebrae. Still, he believes his real handicap is not the chair, but living without his wife. After a few more jokes, Philippe realizes Dries has completed his 1-month trial. He is now officially hired. However, Philippe asks him to return the Fabergé egg he stole, since it was a gift from his wife. She gave him one every year, and he has 25 of them to match their time together. The next day, Dries talks to Mina outside her school. She is upset because he only answers her messages when he needs something, like asking about the egg. She also tells him the police have been calling the house. Later, Dries meets Adama, who admits he was caught with 30 grams. Dries suggests lunch, but Adama refuses and leaves in the same shady car. After that, Dries is present while Philippe dictates another letter for Eleanor to Magali. Dries finds the writing too fancy and boring. He thinks Philippe should be more direct and is shocked to learn that this has been going on for 6 months without exchanging pictures. When he finds her phone number on one letter, he takes it as a sign and calls. He forces Philippe to speak to her on the phone instead of only through letters. The call goes so well that soon Philippe is talking to her all the time, even right before he and Dries go to the opera, where Dries laughs at the costumes. The next day, Dries convinces Philippe to finally exchange pictures with Eleanor and picks one of him in the wheelchair. Later, while Dries is painting, Elisa storms in asking for cigarettes and mocks him for trying to be artistic. Angry, he kicks her out and goes to Philippe. At that moment, Philippe is asking Yvonne to replace the chosen photo with one taken before his accident. She hides the picture inside the escort file just before Dries comes in complaining about Elisa and telling Philippe to discipline her. Yvonne agrees. Philippe will say he will talk to her, but he's more surprised when Dries admits he has been painting. Time passes and their bond grows stronger. Dries takes Philippe to play in the snow and even brings him along on his runs. Philippe gets Dries his first suit and later scolds his daughter while Dries secretly listens through the monitor. When Dries finishes his first painting, he shows it to Magali, but when he tries to kiss her, she slaps him.
Philippe actually likes the painting and promises to try selling it. He and Dries keep having fun together, enjoying things like buying a faster car, sharing joints, and even hiring escorts. When Philippe's birthday comes, he is not excited. Every year, he acts surprised at the party while a bunch of relatives show up only to check if he is still alive. He says it will be boring. While the guests listen to live classical music, Dries looks for Elisa and finds her crying in her room after taking some of Yvonne's pills. They will not kill her like she hoped. She is upset because Bastien broke up with her and called her a tart. She asks Dries to talk to him and he agrees. Back at the party, Philippe shows Dries' painting to one of his relatives and convinces him to buy it for 11,000 euros. Later, Dries chats with Yvonne, who reveals that Magali is dating someone named Fred, but the relationship is shaky, which gives Dries some hope. As the evening winds down, Philippe makes Dries listen to what he calls the greatest songs in classical music history. Dries can only joke about it. When the musicians finished, Dries brings out his iPod and plays Boogie Wonderland by Earth, Wind & Fire. He starts dancing in the middle of the floor. His moves are so good that everyone joins in, and Philippe enjoys watching the party come alive. That night, while putting Philippe to bed, Dries opens the latest letter from Eleanor. She has sent a photo showing she is very pretty, and she writes that they should meet the following week in Paris. When the day comes, Yvonne and Dries try dozens of outfits on Philippe until they settle on the perfect one. Since Yvonne will take him, Dries uses his day off to visit Bastien. He threatens the boy until he agrees to apologize to Elisa, bring her croissants every morning, and fix his hair. Later, Dries goes to see his mother at work, but only from a distance. At the restaurant, Yvonne and Philippe wait for Eleanor, who arrives very late. After an hour, Philippe gives up. He calls Dries to pick him up and leaves just as Eleanor arrives. That same night, Philippe takes Dries on his private plane and gives him the money from the painting sale, which makes him overjoyed. The next morning, they reach the countryside and Philippe decides to go paragliding, dragging Dries along with him.
Dries wants nothing to do with paragliding, but after freaking out at first, he ends up loving it. When they return return home, Adama is waiting for him, and Driss scolds him after noticing the scars on his face. Still, Adama refuses to explain what is going on. Driss makes him wait in his room while he calls Mina to tell her not to worry and then goes to put Felipe to bed. Felipe is not sleepy yet. After showing Driss a painting, he asks about his family. At first, Driss avoids the subject, but eventually he opens up. Adama is not really his brother, and the people he calls his parents are actually his aunt and uncle. They brought him from Senegal when he was 8 since they could not have children. His real name is Bakari Basari, but because other kids have that name, they started calling him Idris, which became Driss. Later, his aunt had a miracle pregnancy. After his uncle died, other men came into the picture and more children were born. Just as Driss once told him that Elisa needed discipline, Felipe now says Adama needs it too. He fires Driss so he could go back to his family because he should not spend his whole life looking after an old man. The next morning, Bastien shows up with a croissant and a better haircut. Driss packs his things and gets ready to leave. Magali comes to say goodbye, and when Driss tries hitting on her again, she introduces him to her partner Frederic, short for Fred. Driss instantly realizes she is not into men and drops it. As he heads out, Driss gives the baby monitor back to Yvonne and teases her for lying about Magali just to mess with him. She hands him the escort file he started, and he finds the picture he had chosen hidden inside. He throws the file away but keeps the photo. Outside, another car blocks the entrance. Even though he no longer works there, Driss asks the driver to move. When Adama questions why he bothers, Driss says it is a matter of principle. A few hours later, he and Adama pick up their mother at the station. Meanwhile, at the mansion, Felipe has dinner with his new caretaker, who is stiff and dull. Felipe leaves the table after only a moment. Time passes and Driss slips back into his old life. He hangs out with his neighborhood friends again and warns the man in the suspicious car to leave Adama alone. When he goes to a job interview he is clearly underqualified for, he still manages to impress the employer by calling himself pragmatic and using the art knowledge he picked up while working for Philippe. But even after that, Philippe still isn't fond of his new caretaker and stays grumpy most of the time. One night, he refuses to let anyone in the house help him with his phantom pain, so Yvonne calls Driss instead. That's when they end up in the exact scene from the beginning, the cops chasing them before finally escorting them to the hospital. After the chaos, Driss drives Philippe to the coast. The ocean view helps Philippe relax. A little while later, Driss trims Philippe's overgrown beard, then takes him to a restaurant for lunch. But Driss doesn't stay. Someone else will be keeping Philippe company this time. Before leaving, he wishes him luck and finally returns the Fabergé egg. Philippe looks nervous about being alone, but his worries disappear when he sees who's waiting for him, Eleonore. She's thrilled to see him and doesn't care about the wheelchair at all. In real life, Count Philippe Passo di Borgo eventually moved to Morocco, remarried, and had 2 daughters. The real dress, Abdelyasmin Salou, built his own business and now has a wife and 3 kids. The 2 of them are still very close friends today. If you like the movie, then subscribe to watch such amazing movie recaps.